back to the Irish Mags Show. It is episode 102. We are officially Centurions for a couple of weeks now. My name is Paul. I'll be your host for today. I am joined by Mr. Alan Williamson, the constant of the Irish Mags Show. Even more constant than me, Alan, I would argue.
I'd say we're on par. How are you?
On par, just about.
Yeah.
A man that isn't on par with us is Chris Show. He's not with us this week. He says he's tied up in work. We just think he's tired and emotional. These international breaks don't suit him at all. However, we do have a very special guest. We've been bringing special guests by the score on this podcast. We've had Pete Graves on recently with John Anderson, and we have a true Newcastle United legend from the Newcastle United community over in Geordieland. Some of you may recognize his face. You may recognize his voice. You'll definitely recognize him if we can get him singing on this podcast in a while. It is Mr. Alan Jones, a.k.a. Jonesy, of the Beltin Reivers. Am I pronouncing it right, first of all? The Beltin
Bang on,
Reivers.
mate. The Beltin Reivers. That's us, yeah.
Beltin Reivers.
Top of the range.
For anyone who doesn't know who the Beltin Reivers are, who doesn't know who Alan is, if you've ever been to a Newcastle United match, if you've been to the Stack, more importantly, not only is it the best crack you'll ever have on match day, but if you've ever heard any of the music on stage, this is the man that brings it to your eyes and ears and gets the Stack going. And here's a little sample if you've never managed to hear it in the flesh. I've never been more hyped at the start of a podcast in 102 episodes. I am buzzing. Man, I absolutely love coming to the Stack. I love hearing you lads play, Jonesy. And just, I suppose, let's just start. Before we jump into all that, because we've been chatting off air for a couple of minutes, making you feel nice and relaxed, but time to put the spotlight on you. We ask all of our guests, do they have any Irish connections, affiliations, relations? Have you visited Ireland? And if you hate Irish people, now is a great time to
now's the time to say, now that we've got a big distance between of the sea and stuff like that.
Safe place.
No, I've got we've got small connections to Ireland. Actually, like a lot of Tynesiders do. On my mother's side, they were all she was all brought up Catholics. Me grandparents were both Irish. But I'm saying that they were, what generation is it? It's 80s, 90s, isn't it? When they were coming over, do you know what I mean? So that's all on my mother's side kind of thing. My son lives in Ireland at the minute. He's in Dublin. He lives in Phibsborough, so I get to visit him.
Well, hang on. Why hasn't he been in the bleaker then? That's a bit
do you know what? I'm gonna put it to him. He's not he's not as big a football fan as I am. I've got other kids who are, but he's yeah, it's something that his dad does. I think
Phibsborough is about 5 minutes away from where our pub is, so he has no excuse.
Right?
Yeah,
right, I'll get him down.
No excuse.
We need to get you over as well, Jonesy. And I tell you what, Alan, now that we've got him on, I mean, I think we'll have to get on to Johnny and discuss a live gig, maybe.
Live gig.
See if we can get that guitar over. We've had a few ad hoc sessions in the bleaker with that guitar that's hanging around upstairs, but it's a little bit out of tune, as was I when I was playing it. So I think those days are numbered. Jonesy, it's great to have you on the podcast. We're looking forward to hearing some of your stories. I mean, look, the last 3 years for you lads has been madness, obviously, since the takeover, all of the Stack, everything that's gone into it, let alone the cup final celebrations, which I want to talk to you about. Just to kick us off, I suppose, we wanted to bring you on. We've met you over in Newcastle. I actually had the privilege of sitting beside you for the Benfica game. Didn't actually realize it was you beside me, but I think I hugged you at least 2 or 3 times every time a goal went in, if not more.
That's it, yeah. So, if you count the goals, we definitely hugged that many times, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely hugged that many times. And then we were in town that evening, and Alan, you'd be surprised to hear we ended up in a pub called Filthy's. It's a place not common.
I don't believe a word of it.
I know, yeah, it's very shocking. And I walked out. Obviously, we walked in and I spotted that you were playing, Jonesy. You and the boys were playing, having seen you in the stack before the game, having sat with you during the game, and then watching you 50s after the game. And then when you finished up, I walked out. And needless to say, Tev was in the middle of all of you, having the chats, doing his thing, marketing the Irish mags, etc. And numbers were exchanged. And here you are, delighted to have you on.
Yeah, cracking bunch of lads. You were really, really good. I remember it was good. It was a good night, wasn't it?
We were very well behaved. I can't say it finished that way, but the less said about that, the better. So let's start, Joe. Obviously, look, there's no need to guess where you're from with your accent. Are you a born and bred Geordie? And we'd love to hear, I suppose, like your origins as a Newcastle fan, and I suppose earliest memories and earliest kind of first game attended, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no problem. I am born and bred Geordie. Yeah, I was born over Wester Hope Way. I lived a lot of my time in Fenham, and then gradually kind of moved eastwards in my life. And I've been living in Wallsend for a good 20 years now. More, God, that's hard to think about. But yeah, I've been here for all my life. I've lived here all my life. Earliest memories of Newcastle United, it's basically, do you know, it's funny because I think about me doing the songs and everything like that, and my dad used to sing us all the songs when I was a kid, like a baby, you know, like just do that, you know, because the way you do babies and all these songs do this, you know. And so, you know, he used to sing to me, yo, N and an E and a W C. And I with all these songs were magic, you know. And I remember going to my first game, we were right down the bottom, must have been about 1986. Paul Gascoigne was playing. My dad was from Dunstan, so a lot of.
I won't tell him that's the year I was born, Alan. Will I?
No, is that right? Yeah. So it was. So my dad was a Dunstan lad, and so was Paul Gascoigne. So that was quite exciting at the time to have somebody who was local there, you know, playing for the club and doing so well, doing so brilliantly as a teenager, you know. And I remember Paul Gascoigne scored that day, and it was just. One of the things I certainly remember is going in, and everybody else knew these songs that I just thought were between me and my dad, you know. I thought me and my dad knew these songs, and every bugger else knew them as well, you know. So that was like, oh, you all know this, you know. And I can remember the songs that go right the way back. They never get sung now. Some of them are still the same, you know. Who's that team we call United, and N and a WC, and A and S and a TL, and used to do one that was we're not Everton, you know, the Liverpool Cup. We play for United until we drop. We don't give. No, don't you, Carol? My dad used to bleep that out exactly the way I'm doing now, you know. And so yeah, so just all of them. I love the songs and I love the thing. I played football all the time, you know, when I was at home. I like playing football before I went to school, break times of school, lunch times of school, finish school. I liked playing football. Turned out I was better at the guitar. But
yeah, I was going to say, when did the guitar land into your hands then? Was that from a young age, or? Yeah,
well, funny enough, that's from me granddad was playing on my mum's side. He could play guitar a little bit, and he died in about the same year, actually, probably about I think I was about 86 as well, 87. And there was a guitar left then. And nobody could really play it apart from him. And obviously he wasn't there. So that was left in the house. And I just remember laying it flat and trying to work it out and all this kind of thing. And yeah, eventually I did. So it was just in my house for a long time, you know. And my stepdad could play guitar very well as well. So he could show us a few things. And before you knew it, I was just, you know, it was both at the same. And as a teenager, while it was the Kevin Keegan stuff, I was playing guitar a hell of a lot, you know. And so that's it. I just got stuck into it. It was just as simple as that, really. But yeah, it was actually just left in my house by my granddad who passed away. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny how I think the same. Like me and my brother both kind of picked up the guitar fairly young, and there was always a guitar in the house. We don't know how it got there. It's still there, like it's a really old Spanish guitar. I mean, it could be worth a fortune, and it's probably worth nothing.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things that was there.
Exactly right. I valued this one loads, and because it was my granddad's guitar. And later on, somebody said, "That's worth nothing. That guitar, that was worth like 50 quid at the most." You know, I was like, "Really? This is what I've now learned on me pride and joy." You know. So.
Look, it got you where you are now, and so we've kind of tuned into the generation that you grew up with in terms of being a Newcastle fan. I mean, you've been through, like Alan here is a young fellow by all accounts. But has experienced a bit of the pain, but probably not all of it. But obviously the ups and downs, you know, you would have been there watching the club come up to the Premier League for the first time. Obviously, the Kevin Keegan era and all of that. I mean, what stands out for you in those days, particularly coming up? And most people would relate it to, you know, David Kelly and then Andy Cole and then the turmoil around that, and then obviously we spring into the Kevin Keegan era. But what's your kind of favorite memories of those times?
My favorite memory, God, of that era. Do you know, for me, I really enjoyed, like, yeah, absolutely Andy Cole, all the goals Peter Beardsley used to supply him and stuff. Absolutely. I think of that era, I think probably before we bought Shearer, I think loads of people loved the Shearer thing, and it was, of course it was fantastic. But I remember that whatever season that would have been, where Les Ferdinand got, I remember he got 11 goals in 11 games, and I remember that. I think that put at top of the league at Christmas, I think, and that was just like,
that was just 95, 96, I suppose.
I think it might have been. Was that about 95, 96, was it?
Probably was, yeah.
Whatever season that was, that Les Ferdinand was just putting them away for fun, and it was just great. It was just, you know, we were just beating everybody in the Premier League. Obviously, the first season that we came up, a little bit tougher, but we give them all a game. We gave everybody in the Premier League a game, you know. Yeah, it was just fantastic, wasn't it? Yeah, the whole time. But certainly that Les Ferdinand, that right up to Christmas and being top of the league at Christmas was fun. It was just great, you know.
They were serious times, and obviously they didn't last too long, really. I mean, you know, it's funny how time passes, and you think of, like, I think of Les Ferdinand being such a big part of me, you know, my first memories being a Newcastle fan, or at least the earlier memories. But he was only really there for a season or two, you know what I mean? It just feels like longer. Same with David Ginola and all that kind of stuff. And what were you up to, let's say, as we kind of move forward? We'll kind of just jump past a bit of Kenny Dalglish and Ruud Hull eras, just because why wouldn't we?
Yeah, if you like.
But then we come back around to like the Bobby Robson era. So, like, I suppose, what were you up to around those times? Particularly, you know, we're getting back into the Champions League. I mean, were you playing music at the time around Newcastle? What was the city? I
was. No, you're right. I was still playing music around. I wasn't doing so much of the chat and stuff. So what was I, about 19, 20? I shared a ticket, funny enough, with a lad called Paddy. He wasn't Irish at all, but again, he was Paddy, and he was we used to share a season ticket because that's what we could afford at the time. And so I used to get to, well, half the amount of home games for there, and that was a good season. I remember seeing, again, Newcastle beating Arsenal at home and things like that. You know, there was just great. And actually, that was another time, wasn't it? Because he took one top of the league at Christmas as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was another Christmas, I think, under Bobby Robson, where we were top of the league. In fact, was that not when we beat Arsenal to go top of the
December.
league? Yeah, it was December, wasn't it? Yeah. That's all ringing bells now as well. So that was all fantastic times. I was playing music there, but not nearly the way I was doing it now. Not doing you know, it wasn't associated with Newcastle.
What would be your? We'll come to the Newcastle kind of tunes and chants and the stack and everything. But what would be your like go-to music? What were your early influences or the type of music you were playing on the scene?
Well, okay, funny enough. So we've been doing this band. When we do the Geordie and Irish folk stuff, and that's what we started. So it wasn't starting getting straight into the Newcastle United stuff. It was going to be like a Geordie folk band. And so the Irish stuff we used to listen to whatever. So when I was 17, to be honest, my favourite album was the Pogues, was Rum Soddenry and the Lash, you know, and that used to go back to back, and we just thought that was great, you know. That we used to drink to that, and we just thought it was just great, you know. So it was a bit of that, but it was all over music influences really. But when we were asked to play the Irish bar, I knew all those songs just already, you know. So that was easy enough for me to do, like. You know, like I played them for fun, you know, not for gigging, but I'd done that when I was a teenager. So I would be opening up and like people were like, how the hell do you know that song? It's like, because I used to listen to this all of the time, you know, like I loved those tunes, you know.
Excellent.
I did. I thought that album was brilliant when I first heard it. I listened to it back to back when I was a teenager. And when I've got a flute player, we were doing. When we started this, we'd actually done a 10-piece band, and it was called the Backyard Rhythm Orchestra, and we used to take that, and that used to travel down. We did a few festivals. We did Glastonbury was like a big highlight of that and all that.
Wow.
And when we'll go down, everyone would say like, "Oh, can you do your Geordie folk songs? What's your Geordie?" And we had a flute player that still plays well, Luke, who's fantastic, the magic flute I call him.
Brilliant.
And we could like we could just bounce off anybody that was there. Do you know what I mean? Like we could we'd do the gigs and then sitting around fires later, we'd just be whacking out loads of tunes and making people laugh. We'd do the blading races. We'd do loads of Irish stuff. We'd do, there's a load of Geordie stuff. I always think that the Irish stuff's it's been really well sold, hasn't it? It's been really well produced, and it's been really, and I always thought, I bet we could do that with a lot of the Geordie folk stuff as well. And if we market it like that, and we could do it. And then the Newcastle takeover happened, and we were doing these chant things in the pubs anyway. That was just what I would do at gigs. You know what I mean? Like if Newcastle had won and we had a gig, I'd be singing the songs that I'd been singing in the terraces and all that, and we'd just do it for fun. Before you know it, it kind of spiraled as something that we did. We just did it more than everybody else, and we just kept on doing it.
Yeah, and that's a really good segue, I suppose, to bring us up to date. I mean, in terms of the Belter, in terms of I suppose the takeover was the big kicker. The club making that big concentrated effort via Amanda Staveley and co, to really re-engage with the city, re-engage with the fans. And just reignite this massive animal of a fan base that had been in the dregs and down in the dumps for so many years for obvious reasons.
It was, yeah.
So that comes around. The Stack, and I look at Alan as well, but how long has the Stack been there, lads? In my mind, it's just always been there, but it's only been there for a couple of years.
No, it's only been open. It's only been a year, isn't it? It opened just before last season. It's only a year.
I feel like it's been there. In my mind, it's been there just since the takeover happened. The Stack just appeared, but obviously it hasn't.
I thought it was a year after the Stack, or after the takeover, wasn't it?
It was being built for maybe the year beforehand, but it's actually only been there since I think it was August. It was August last year that it opened. It was just before just before the beginning of the last season, because we did the opening one in there, and that was incredible when we did the opening or the first game of the season, and we'd done that, and it was full. It was all, everybody wanted to find out what the stat was. It was full in there, and then there was talk, and I didn't know this was going to happen, and we were doing exactly what I'd been doing. So even before the takeover, before the takeover, we've been doing the chants in the town and the gigs around the town, in filthies, places like that. And then when somebody said, you want to come and do the Stack, and so we did. When we went and did the open day of the season, did exactly what I usually do. Sing "Oh When the Mags Go Marching In," all the songs, finish the bleeding races, get all it, and it was like, wow, this is great. Everyone's shouting back, everyone's responding to this. This is fantastic. And I didn't know this was going to happen, but Darren Eales was stood behind us. I had no idea. And Darren Eales, and he turned, there was Darren Eales, and he came over and he grabbed my hand. Small lad he is up front on the pictures. He looks, really small guy, and I'm not a big guy myself. This little guy came across, and he just grabbed my hand. He just went, "That was fucking brilliant." And I went,
brilliant.
I says, "Cheers, Darren." And what I did was basically everybody been singing the track, and then he got up and he just went, "Who's that team we're calling?" And the whole place was going like that, and I just thought, "This is magic. This is good. This,
Well, that's exactly what I think. That's exactly what they wanted it to be. I mean, obviously there's a vision, and they're building it all together. And I mean, you're arguing possibly you're one of the first people even in the Stack, who wasn't involved in building and designing it, to come in.
Sure, I had a good show round when it was being opened and stuff. Yeah, the show us around, said this is what we want to do, and it was just magic, really, really good. Yeah,
unreal. And going in there playing the first time, I mean, it's a different venue to most venues in terms of layout, probably in terms of audio and sound. The way that you have the open rooftops, and then you have the kind of covered areas, and obviously you have the main floor in the middle. I mean, the weather, even if it rains, it kind of changes the dimension of what's going on down below. But it's just always bang and crack. But how has it evolved in terms of your first gig to, let's say, the last gig? Do you feel it's kind of come along, or has it always been just smashing it from the start?
It's I mean, look, you get the big games and everybody's full in there. The odd game when we played Bromley in the cup, there wasn't as many in. Do you know what I mean? On a cold January kind of thing. So still plenty full. There's people there all the time. There's often queues. Yeah. So doing the League Cup final in there, because I wanted to go to Wembley and I couldn't, and I thought maybe it's going down anyway and all that, and I thought, we'll do the Stack, man. Of course, we wanted to do the Stack. They wanted to do the Stack course. It was a magic place to watch it. Full capacity, 3,000 plus in there. yeah, just absolutely cracking, banging atmosphere, really, really good, you know. And war flags are great, you know. They get with flags for it and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So we can really celebrate. But yeah,
it's an unbelievable
it's usually bang.
experience.
Certainly all the home games, are
Yeah, it is. It's we've been going, you know, myself, Alan, all of the Irish Mags, everyone. We've been going to Newcastle for years, and particularly in the early days, you know, when I'd fly over on my own, and I might wander around, I might bump into someone in the airport or share a cabin from, you know, or meet someone on the train. You might go for just a different. But obviously, there's the Strawberry, there's Rosies and all these, but you know, you kind of bounce around. Now it's just this centralized place where, you know, even if you're on your own as a couple, you know, there's no better place. And I've been to a lot of other away grounds to just get in the mood. If you go in there for 20 minutes or 3 hours, you know, there's no way you're not absolutely buzzing and hyped for a game. And I have to say, Jonesy, I'm not gonna fill your head with shit, but it's because of what you lads do. I mean, getting that crowd going, getting the scarves swinging, the flags going, and everybody doing those chants. I just don't think I don't think any other clubs have cracked it as well as Newcastle has. And I have to say,
I really appreciate it, mate. Honestly, I really do. Like, thank you. It's it's an honour to do. That's what it is. That's what it is for me. That's what it is for us. I think like it's an absolute honour to do it. I think every time I think we feel lucky to be able to do it, you know. And it's it's just doing music like we like to do in the terrace anyway. But I think about it a lot, you know. We'll put a lot into it. I want to get everything right. I want everything, you know. And I get things wrong, like I get things wrong from time to time. I've got to watch swearing in the stack and things like that, and I don't. I managed to get away with it. I can say fucking bugger on the podcast. So
hey, if Bruno can do it on the stage,
you're allowed to get away with it.
Well, to be honest, that was it. Because when we played the Town Moor, I was told specifically it's full of kids. This you can't say fucking bugger and all that, you know. And there's Bruno. I was thinking, all right, he can say this, that, and the other. Well, of course you can, because you've I've got a long way to go before I can start telling Bruno Gamerish to.
Yeah, you can't tell Bruno what to do. Nobody will tell Bruno.
I loved it, man. It was great, man.
One question I wanted to ask you before I want to talk to you about the Town Moor, but you obviously go to games, which is where I met you at the Benfica game. Is it a scramble? So like you guys, you're playing up until not that long before kickoff? Are you kind of racing then to pack up the gear? You know, I don't know if you have the car handy and then you're kind of scrambling to get into the stadium.
Yes, is the answer. Yes, we'll finish. Yeah, is the answer. I quickly get my guitar packed away again. My flute player is an absolute diamond. He's he'll just leave it with me. I'll take your stuff down to Filthy's and then I'll pop myself up. But from the stack, obviously, I'm just there. So I can just walk up and, you know, find my seat.
In close proximity.
It doesn't take long to get in. I don't want to tell everybody this, but there's a lot of people. And to be honest, I sometimes miss a lot of the wall flags. If they've got a thing, I usually get to the end of that, which is unfortunate, you know, because I'm still packing stuff away and stuff. If I can manage to get in there and catch it, then I'll love to do all that as well. But yes is the answer. I'm usually hop, skipping and jumping up the steps to try and get in.
Yeah, as long as you don't have to climb too many of those steps after singing like a lunatic for a couple of hours, you'll be already out of breath crossing the road. You might be out of breath. We're putting you under pressure. We're going to pause for a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about that epic cup final and, of course, the celebrations that followed. The Irish Mag Show is proudly sponsored by The Half Volley and FSH Training Limited. The Half Volley provide high-quality, customizable clothing and merchandise catering for all sports teams, businesses, social clubs and events, including, of course, the Irish Mags, with a new range available over on their website, thehalfvolley.com. FSH Training Limited offer a wide variety of training across the fields of fire safety, first aid and manual handling. All of their trainers are frontline emergency service workers with extensive instructing experience, ensuring realistic, professional training. All of their course options and details are available on the website fshtraining.ie. And we are back with Mr. Alan Jones of the Belter Reavers, the voice, the face, the songs, the music of the Stack and of Newcastle, the city, and all that goes with it. Jonesy, we want to talk about the Carabao Cup final. We briefly mentioned the celebrations. You were talking about watching it in the Stack, obviously. Some were lucky to watch it in Wembley. We were down in London ourselves. We didn't get tickets, so we just took over a bar in London with about 100 Irish
That's
bags.
the way to do it. That's what I would have done. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it had to be done. And what a day that was. But I think what we have to talk about is the celebrations that followed. I'm going to play a clip really quickly. And then we're going to I just want to kind of get it. Like we all watched it from the crowd view, looking at the bus, looking at the stage. You had a very unique view, and I'm going to throw this clip up to the listeners before we dive into it.
The Beltin Newcastle United are winners. Geordie Nation has its hands on a trophy. When the bugs go marching, I want to be in that number. When the bugs go marching, sing burn, baby, burn, make that burn on.
I'm getting shivers, lads.
Yeah, class. Absolutely class.
I honestly don't know if I'd be able for it all over again if we do reach another cup final. It just looked phenomenal, obviously, for us. I mean, Alan, I'll tell you a story about Alan Williamson. He can chime in himself, but Alan did a fleeting visit for the celebration party. Alan, could you talk us through the day you had between the flights and the parade starting?
So I flew in at 7 o'clock in the morning, thinking that the parade was going to start about 12. The parade started at 4, and my flight home was at 5:30. So I managed to see the bus turn the corner at James's. And when I say I sprinted to the metro, jumped on, and they were closing the gate as I got to the plane, and they were like, "What the hell were you doing?" I was like, "I had to see the bus. And your one started breaking her heart laughing, and she was like, "You know what? If we had known, we would have held it for you." And I was like, "I had to see the bus, seeing the bus." So I, skin of me teeth, seeing the bus come around that corner, it was like, "All right, grand, I've seen everything," and legged it.
Dedication.
I only booked. We were in London. We'd won the cup, and I was buckled. And I booked the flights. She was asleep. We were on the bus to the airport from London. I was twisted. She was stone cold sober, but she'd fallen asleep. And I booked to go on my own. And I was like, "Why am I after doing this?" I got home and I was like, "I'm not booking to go to Newcastle next weekend. What am I doing?" Good idea, though. Brilliant idea at the time.
The idea was good. The execution could have been fun, but the intent was there and the dedication was there. Class. So Jonesy, that like those celebrations, obviously in and around, like, did you get to spend? Obviously, you guys were there in the town more and you played, which you'll tell us about. But did you get to spend any time in when the bus was going through, or were you out there like getting ready and set up?
No, it was for us. We had to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning to get everything done and sound checked and all this kind of thing. So I was sound checking the town moor, at 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And so we spent all that. I couldn't even tell you what time we were on. Was it about 5 or 6 o'clock or something? Was it? We had to be there all day. So all day we were down there, and it was bizarre. It was this. We had like kind of like VIP bit at the back, which was nice. We could have drinks and pizza, but it was a long time. And of course, we're doing a 25-minute gig. Now I'm used to, like you're saying, if I go into Filthies, I've got 50 minutes to plug me stuff in, and then we're away, So yeah, to get down that early for all those things and to make sure everything runs smoothly.
And in terms of like the duration of the day, I can't even remember if you played before or after the team came out. I mean, it was just all manic, and like it looked like it was well organized. You mentioned you were there at crack of dawn, but at the same time, nothing like that had really been held there before. There's massive crowds. You're bringing the entire team on stage. Bruno's swearing at everyone. Eddie Howe is going mental. I mean, for you guys, like you mentioned Glastonbury, have you played something as big as that? Did it all run smoothly?
No, we even though we might have played, we did play Glastonbury, but no, nothing like that, because that is what you've got to understand. That's 150,000 people on the town moor, there's another 150,000 people not on the town watch. So what Peter Graves was saying last, it was 300,000. I think it's 150,000 that were on the town moor. Now that's like 3 St. James's Parks. That's like somebody else had given me a statistic at the time, and said it was between ticketed music. Between ticketed gigs in the world that it's ever happened, we're somewhere between Bruce Springsteen in '86 and U2 in '97 or something like this, just like, what? Like, we don't say that again.
That's unbelievable.
I can't find the statistic myself, but this is one of my mates here. I found this in between Bruce Springsteen and U2 of gigs of all time, which is like, what the hell? I mean, it's not like everyone just came to see the Belter Reavers, of course.
Don't worry about it.
I don't care about that.
It's all about you.
And so to do that was just, I kind of had to switch off from all of that. I just had to just go and do what I usually do. But I was riddled with flu, absolutely riddled with flu. I'd been over to Dublin, and my son had when all this was being organised, I was in Dublin. I was in Dublin and Galway, actually, Paul. I was over in Galway as well. When I was getting things, I was over in, what's that area of Galway called? Salt Hill. I was in Salt Hill. I was
down the road from where I'm sitting right now.
Is that right? Is it? Is that where you are now?
5 minutes away from it right here.
Really? Is that right? Yeah. I was over there when this was being organised because I decided, I thought the biggest gig for me that year would have been the cup final, the stack, doing the stack in the cup final, 3,000 people there. Wow, great. This is the biggest gig for ages. This is what we're doing. And I'm in Galway and they're putting this together, and I'm getting phone calls from Newcastle United saying, can you come and do this? There's going to be loads of people there and all this. I'm thinking, really? Okay, so we do it. So obviously that gets organised, and then I come back, riddled with the flu, there at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm making it sound not very fun, because when we got there, God, once the thing started, it was quite incredible, and it was amazing, kind of like got to sneakily touch the cup and things.
Unreal.
But again, Les Ferdinand,
selfies.
And that was the thing. That was the thing for us. It was cheeky sound, loads of them. I got loads. I had a pint with Les Ferdinand afterwards.
Nice, class,
magic.
Class.
Pint with Steve Harper afterwards.
He's up here over my shoulder all the time. Is Sir Les keeping an eye on things,
Great bloke, really nice bloke, really, really great.
So, like 100. I mean, you've been playing music a long time, as you told us. At some point, somebody said to you, "Yeah, there might be 150,000 people here." Like walking on stage, I mean, you've walked on stage how many times in your life, in your career? Is it completely different when you're like, holy shit, this is huge?
Yeah, it is. To be honest, you're almost more removed from it, really. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't. I mean, I need glasses anyway, so I can't see the first person in front. So, do you know what I mean? Like when I'm looking to see, I'm usually looking at the crowds. When there's 150,000, you can't do that. You've got to go and do your show. You even probably can do that a little bit with 3,000. You can see people. There's a little bit of like, but 150,000, you can't. It's just like we just need to go on and do what we rehearse, do what we often do. It's why we're asked to do it. So that's what we want and do it.
Yeah. And any particular highlight just of the gig itself in terms of the specific chants, what got the crowd going the most? Is there anything that stands out as you think back? Because it probably flew by because it was just madness. But is there anything that jumps to memory?
I think doing "Oh When the Mags." I think when we did "Oh When the Mags" and everybody goes, "Oh When the Mags," that's just like 150 people shouting back. And actually, there's what doesn't do it very much justice, actually, because when you were there, it was one thing. Watching back, I've even had friends and family saying, like, you weren't singing very well. I was like, I know I wasn't singing very well because I was just shouting your head off with all these chants. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not there doing Sam Fender's job, singing all these perfect notes. I'm just chanting things back. But yeah, like what actually went out was a really dry signal over the telly. So when you were there, the kick drum sounded fantastic, didn't it? It was like all that kind of thing, like really went out. All the bass sounded fantastic. Everyone there. That dry signal goes out on the telly, which goes around the world, by the way. So it's not just 150,000 that were there. I think there's 2 million people watching
Sky News and everything. Yeah, Sky News kept jumping to it, and Sky Sports.
2 2 million people watching in Sao Paulo because of Bruno, you know?
Yeah.
So that's like
They got their
totally
money's
bizarre,
worth.
but yeah. So what's going out there was really quite what seemed like a dry signal. And when you watch like something like Glastonbury on the TV and stuff, you know, they've mic'd the audience up so you can hear all that. Whereas like you kind of couldn't when I watched this back later. I was like, oh dear, do you know what I mean? Like, but so I just like to keep my memories of the time because that's the bit I enjoyed.
Ah, well, look, I mean, like I said, would you be able to handle another one?
Oh yeah, I'd love to do
you
another
know
one.
what I mean?
I'd love to do it again. Yeah. I'd love
Fingers
to
crossed.
do it
It
again.
might, I mean, it might happen this season. Things aren't going great in the league. You've noticed, folks, we've not talked about any football at the moment.
Not
Maybe
yet.
we're better off.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do
but
it.
we will jump into it. Before we just to finish off on the musical section, Jonesy, I have to ask this. We as fans, we love a good transfer window, and we've had a few idle transfer windows, which for you might not be the worst thing because you don't really need to learn any new chants when there's no new signings. However, when a new signing,
you're right. Actually, what's more worrying about? It's not about getting new players and learning new chants because we like to do our own anyway. So we'll do all the ones that are sang in the Gallagher, and then we'll like to do our own anyway, just for fun, make people laugh.
Yeah.
It might catch on, it might not. So like we've got one for Kieran Trippier that never gets sung in the Gallagher, and I don't know why because this is like, whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, Kieran Trippier, best right back in the Premier. Whoa, Kieran Trippier. So
Alan,
we like that one.
Alan, it doesn't sound the same without a guitar in his hand, does it?
It doesn't.
No,
now.
I'll get that out. But yeah, the worrying thing for me is if we get rid of a player, particularly if we've got a track chant that I really like about them. So that was the thing about putting things together for this was just like, that 4-letter word Isaac leaving and stuff like that was like, all right, that's like quite a big chunk of set that we used to do. Or there was ones that was worrying about which players were going to leave that just because I really like the chants that they do, and if we can't do those anymore, then that's a shame, you know. But I love the Malik Chow one, you know. The new Malik
let's
Chow
talk about that because that's one of the newer ones, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's one of the new ones. Yeah.
I think he's going to have to play it for us, Alan. Personally,
I think the only logical thing we can do is get him to play it for us.
All right, we'll try this. It's nicer with a violin.
Yes, guitar is, folks. If you are listening on Spotify, it's worth getting over to YouTube. The man has a guitar in his hand for us live on the Irish Mag Show.
How's it go? He came from Milano to play with Sandro. Oh, Malik Chow, Malik Chow, Malik Chow, Chow, Chow. He loves Sir Bobby. He plays for Eddie, and he loves the fucking tune. Came from Milano to play with Sandro. Oh, Malik Chow, Malik Chow, Malik Chow, Chow, Chow. He loves Sir Bobby. He plays for Eddie, and he loves the fucking tune.
Hey,
that is unreal.
Jonesy, we're 102 episodes deep of the Irish Mag Show. We've been doing this for about 2 years, and you're the first to sing and play on the podcast. So you get props for that.
Yeah,
from us and from all the Irish Mag.
It's up there with the cup gigs and that way.
And like, so looking at that, I mean, geez, as you were talking about losing a chant, I was just like, if we ever lose Sandro, because I love that. I love the Sandro chant. It just gets the whole place going. It's so simple, but it's absolutely perfect. But like, when those chants come through, are you guys inclined to go, oh, we need to write something? Or are you kind of, let's see what the Gallowgate produces, or let's see what social media produces? How does that work? Or can you take credit for any?
Honestly, all of those things. So we'll do our own. We'll listen to the Gallowgate. I've often got a seat in the Gallowgate. I'm in with the singing section on Saturday.
Nice.
We'll and social media as well. All of those things basically. I get people. I'll tell you what. I get people messaging us. Johnny, here's some. I've actually got people messaging and say, "Yeah, what do you think of this? Will you do this one?" I get emails and stuff like that. I got one today, really, really good. Do you want to hear this?
As long as you're not breaching any confidentiality or exposing anyone on the internet.
Someone wants to do this to Wicked Game by Chris Isaac. What a wicked thing to do, and all this kind of thing. He's got that German's on fire. No one could save us but you. Feather like a touch from a player that's 6'2". Brilliant, you know.
Nice.
I never dreamed that we'd sign somebody like you. What a wicked game to play. Make me feel this way. what a thing to do when you're 6'2" and all this kind of thing.
Unreal.
What a wicked amount of cash. What a lovely hairline tash.
Love it.
Now, you know, will we do it? I don't know. I appreciate just getting stuff like that, you know. So some of them I use. I've got one that I really want to get out about Jacob Murphy, which is Jacob Murphy scoring all the time or something like that. Jake it never gets sung in the Gallagher, you know. We never play it out, but it's one that's in the back of my mind that we want to do and stuff. It's just fun, isn't it? It's just great.
Class.
But that's it.
Unreal.
It's just to see what, like, because certain things work and certain things don't in terms of what catches. You know what I mean? And
Exactly
it's just
right.
mad to see, especially from the outside a little bit, how quickly certain things can catch an entire stadium full of people. You know, never mind you lads obviously doing it in the stack for all the fans. So unbelievable. I mean, I'm almost like starting to think who would be a great song. Who should we go after just so that we can get a belter of a song?
Yeah. It's just get a good song.
We need to start keeping an eye on that for sure. Unbelievable. Okay, I suppose, lads, we might have to talk about some football.
Yeah, go for it.
We might as well do it. And you know, Jonesy, look, it's been an interesting season, I suppose. Like, it's real topsy turvy. It's real, like, we're great in the cups, we're shite in the league, we're great at home, we're shite away. What's your take on how things have been going so far, particularly, you know, with the Premier League and the form? And you know, where at the time of recording, lads, are we 14th in the league?
14th,
2 points clear of the relegation zone, which is, I mean, I don't think anybody in the right mind expects us to even get close to battling relegation, but it's not where we would want to be at the end of November.
No, I don't think that we will be. I think obviously those last two away games have really like left a bitter taste, haven't they? The performances and all the rest of it. I genuinely think what's knocked us down the league is which is a big shame actually, is those games that were lost, that we didn't pick up enough points for when we didn't have a striker at the beginning. Those 3 games when Isak was on strike. And because we played phenomenally then, and we just didn't have a striker. And if you added those 7 points to the table now, would be right up there. And to me, whether we lose Isaac or whatever, those 3 games, that's 7 points. Now, if you're chasing the Premier League title, which I'm not saying that we are, but Stuart Pearce sometimes thinks that we are. Some people think that we are. You know, we could have been putting a window together where we could have had a go at the title. 7 points is a lot. If you're trying to get into Europe and trying to get 4th place, 7 points is a lot come the end of the season. You know, whatever you're doing, if you're battling relegation, 7 points is a lot, you know. And I think if we had a striker then, I think we would have won those games. I think we would have beat Liverpool at home. I think we would have beat Villa, and I think we would have beat Leeds. In fact, what did we get out of those actually?
Lost
Liverpool. Two draws and a loss.
Yeah.
Aye, that's right.
2 points. Yeah. No, you're right. I think I fully agree.
I think I would have had 9 points out of that, and we got about 7. And then what it would have meant was those 2 away games when we've been beating Benfica, beating
like
everybody else,
USG, Bilbao,
Champions League,
you
know, playing all, you know, doing all those games and doing well in the cups, you know, playing strongly, you know, against Spurs and all that kind of thing. Those 2 away games wouldn't look so bad because we'd be 7 points further up the table.
It's fine margins.
It looks a lot worse. Well, it is a lot worse because we're 14th. But you know, you'd give those. Well, you know, we're at the end of of that little campaign before the international break, you know, and the players are tired and we do have injuries. And I think also the way that we were pressing last time we were in the Champions League, we had all those injuries, didn't we? Do you remember all that?
Yeah.
You know, where it was just, it was ridiculous amount of injuries last time we were in the Champions League. And I think that's why we haven't been doing that press so much and all that kind of thing, because we were just going flat out a million miles an hour every single game. Didn't matter who we played. We're just knackering ourselves out, basically. And I think there's been let's take the foot off the gas. Let's do the games that we can win. I'm not saying we went to Brentford to lose or to West Ham to lose. I don't think we did. We just don't seem to be chasing and pressing the way that we're used to. And I wonder if there's a little bit of like, you know, let's turn it on when we want to, and let's not. I don't know. What do you lads think?
Well, Alan, there's a question I was going to ask. The big conversation that's going around, a lot of it is just about squad selection, right? You know, Jonesy's just talked about Champions League 2 years ago. We were using the same 12 players for a few months in a row. Lewis Miley was having to be deployed in midfield through necessity. and no rotation, no depth, loads of injuries. Now, okay, barring the fullback positions, which is pissing a lot of people off, obviously missing Tino and Lewis Hall, but
Massive,
still feels like Eddie Howe is quite stuck to it in terms of like sticking with the midfield, sticking with the Joe Lintons and Dan Burns here and there. What's your take, Alan Williamson, on like that lack of rotation? Do you agree with what's going around, that we should be doing more?
Yes and no. Yes and no. So yes, we do need a little bit more rotation. I'd love to see Ramsey come in for Joe Linton. I don't think Joe Linton's played well at all this season, really. The other side of the coin is take the two fullbacks out of any Premier League club that start week in, week out, and replace them with a 33-year-old centre half that's 6'7" and a 35-year-old right back who, let's be very honest, Trippier has been outstanding for us, but his legs are starting to go. His best years are behind him, and any team will struggle. You're also taking one of your best attacking threats in Anthony Gordon and asking him to double up and track back with Byrne every single time. So you're losing the output of him. You're losing your output of your fullbacks. You're having a midfield who isn't working 100% yet because the overlaps aren't happening for the fullbacks. It's a culmination of absolutely everything going wrong at the wrong time for us. And it just seems to have really affected us. Yes, I'd love to see a couple more changes, but I can see why Eddie is going, look, I have a set midfield three. I've already lost me two fullbacks. I can't afford to throw in someone who's not exactly used to how we play and see if he'll work, because if he doesn't work, his confidence will be shot to shit. Look at Elanga. If that goal goes in against Villa on the first day of the season, we have a different winger playing for us now.
Yeah,
but
that's true. Yeah, I do think that.
I genuinely think Eddie is stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he throws Ramsey in and he plays poorly and then hooks him back out, his confidence is gone. Whereas if he throws him in and everything goes great, people be on, well, you should have done that 6 months ago. And you're going, hindsight's a wonderful thing, lads. I do think he's in a rock and a hard place. I do think we do need a little bit of change, though.
Yeah. What would it be for you, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got Man City at the weekend, right? Talk about a test, a record against Man City. I mean, to be fair, we did beat them. I think it was 3 games back in the cup, in the League Cup. But overall, I think that's the only time Eddie Howe has ever beaten Pep Guardiola in his career. But it is what it is.
All right, yeah.
The one thing I'll say, I it's really tough. I think there's no way we don't play Lewis Hall in this game against Man City.
Can't.
Because when you think about what they have in terms of firepower, now it still doesn't solve everything. Doku is playing some unbelievable football at the moment, and he plays on the left, and that's Trippier again. But
yeah,
I always actually, when we were coming up against Man City, and you're always fearing Haaland, and the fucker is on the form of his life at the moment. He's already scored about 35 goals for club and country, and it's November. But Dan Burn has always managed to fairly kind of keep Haaland under control. In terms of, like, we see Haaland go and just destroy opposition teams and score a brace easily. I mean, he should have more hat-tricks than he does. And Dan Burn usually enjoys those battles, and you'd feel the same about Botman and Chow if that was the case. Yeah. So whether that's a case of bringing in Hall, bringing Dan Burn back, because Eddie Howe just loves Dan Burn, but he brings a lot. Of course he's suspended, sure. Of course he's suspended.
Yeah, that's right. Burns out anyway, yeah. That's right. Burns suspended,
like, even I think the principle is the same. I trust our backline even against Haaland. I suppose that's the point I'm making. Because we've managed them before, and it doesn't mean we've managed to neutralize Man City, because they have plenty of other threats and they're starting to come into themselves. But I do, for some reason, I always kind of fancy us against City.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah,
we need to pull it out of the bag, and I think we're at the point where there's a couple of players. You mentioned Anthony Gordon there. I think Tonali hasn't been brilliant in the last few games. Bruno as well, similar. I want to see Bruno pushing up more. I think he's starting to get sucked back in, trying to make things happen. It's the same when when you're playing and you have a striker who's not getting the ball. It used to happen. Isak, when we didn't play well, he'd end up in midfield because he just wants to get on the ball. That's always a bad sign. You want to have us further up the field and not have the likes of Bruno or even Voltemade, even though he likes doing it, having to come too deep. But I think we need to see 50% more aggression, passion, desire. And you can't just be confident, but we need to look at the players we have, the team we have, look back on the performances we put in, go, lads, we're fucking good. We're not, we haven't really got some great results, but equally, when we've gone out at home against certain teams, we've not only beaten them, we've beaten them well.
No,
I'm not saying we beat Man City well.
And we do turn up for the big teams as well, though. You know, like
Yeah.
we do, and that's probably why you do fancy was against Man City, because you know I don't think the same performance will turn up against Brentford and West Ham away. You know, I don't think it will. I think we'll turn up against City. I think that's what will happen, and I think we'll give them a game. And I think we'll, you know, if we can stop Haaland, but we can stop the service to him as well.
Yeah.
I think this.
Yeah.
Did I hear a thing that the Tino might be available?
There's a few rumors saying that he could be available. I don't know if you drop him in against Doku first game back though. That would, I really don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, in his whole fit. No,
Oh,
it would appear that way.
He played 60 minutes for the England under-21s, didn't he? So I would go on a limb and say we've no one else to play left back, so
he has to play.
He has to play left back essentially. But I'd be fairly confident.
We don't actually have another cover, really, don't we? We'll have to be putting another square peg there, you know.
Yeah, and ideally, I mean, I expect he'd play Tonali, Bruno, and Joe Linton. I mean, this is a game for Joe Linton to really kind of come back into his own and show why Eddie Howe keeps putting him in there. And in fairness to Joe Linton, these are the games he's done it. But Jonesy and Alan, time to put your money where your mouth is. I'm going to ask you both for a score prediction. Alan Williamson, let's go first with you. Score prediction: Newcastle United at home to Man City, Saturday kickoff, 5:30 p.m.
I always say confident we're going to win. I think we're going to draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1.
Wouldn't be the worst, Jonesy.
No.
Would you take that, or are you aspiring for more?
Oh, would I take a 1-0? I mean, I would have to take a 1-0 draw. Would I take it? Depends on the performance to me. It's still early on in the seasons where I really want to see a good performance. I think that's what we're after. So we, as much as we absolutely need the points and stuff, you know, it's about the performance rather than the result for me. I think if we have it home with City at home, I think, you know, there's just no way that we're going to see that same performance. There's just no way we can do so. Yeah. You know, if we got a draw at home, I might take that at the minute, looking at everything else. And it's one of them, you know. I think forever the optimist. Would you be happy if we did it Tottenham Hotspur and kind of, you know, like got ourselves a cup but finished? I always used to say when we're in the same league as Sunderland, you know, I don't mind finishing 16th in the league as long as Sunderland finish 17th, you know. So, but the thing is, if Sunderland are in 4th, then it means we're going to have to finish 3rd. Then, you know, like that's what this is about, really. You know, so we're going to have to get ourselves up to 3rd.
It's grand. We'll just win the Champions League and finish 17th or 16th. It's grand.
Exactly. Would you take that? What do you think? Would you take an FA Cup?
I like to think a bit more long term, and I look at it and go, the Champions League or Champions League, you call it Europe, right? You could say Champions League, Europa League, even Conference League to an extent. What that means for the club in 3 years' time, in terms of money, in terms of drawing players in terms of retention of players. You know, if we were to suddenly finish 12th and win the FA Cup, does that mean Sandro Tonali is going to be like, oh yeah, I see my future, my short-term future here? And equally, you know, if you're going out into the market, which we've already struggled in, you know, we are in the Champions League this season. We didn't get Šeško, we didn't get João Pedro, we didn't get Liam Delap, we didn't, you know, we still missed out on all these targets. So that's where I'm like, Champions League it's going to be a big ask now, and a lot, like, you know, even Man United and Tottenham aren't playing brilliantly, but they're back in and around that hunt. It's busy, and it's going to take a big run from us to get us back into that. But I still would I take a 5th place finish instead of winning the Carabao or the FA Cup? I probably would, lads. But that's my football manager long-term vision thing going on.
Yeah, no, totally. You're right. We'll have to be continually in the Champions League, though. But that's got to be the aim.
It's a big thing for where we are in terms of competing long-term. For what it's worth, on the weekend, I see like a 2-2. I think we can score. I think we can score against Man City. But it's just fucking Haaland. Haaland mightn't do anything for 79 minutes, and then he might just pop up and score because that's what he does. So it's a big ask, but it's a huge game, lads. I think it's a big old game to kind of come back with a bang after the international break. And as I said, a lot of individual performances needed. Jonesy, before we wrap up, you'll be in the stack on Saturday before the game?
I will, yeah. I'll be stacked beforehand, yeah. Doing
what time do you? So 5:30 kickoff means you'll be starting on stage around
a couple of hours before. What will that be? At least 3:30. I think. Then, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
But
then
I'll probably be down there
afterwards,
about 2:30. Yeah.
class. Afterwards,
doing that.
then.
Yeah, and then we'll be doing the points after. We'd usually be doing filthies, but we're going to take it into the points just because it's Saturday night. And to be honest, I wanted to get you Irish mags over and show you the points downstairs as well, because it's
nice.
a good bar, like, you know.
I'm sure a couple of the lads will show up if you entice
I
them.
hope
I think.
so.
Yeah.
I hope so. To be honest, I've got me boss at Filthies, and he's planning on putting. He's saying, like, because I've told him he's coming over, you know, and he's going to put kind of welcome Irish mags thing up, I think, you know.
Class.
Oh, nice.
So,
right, we'll put you in contact with Tev to coordinate.
I'll guarantee at least one of the flags. I have all our flags. I'll guarantee at least one of the Irish mag flags gets over to you. Then at least.
Well, yeah, no,
Yes.
do that.
Yeah.
No, we'll do. We're going to put on a good show for you when you come over. Like,
Unreal.
Excellent. Alan, we'll have a couple of shows more closer to home for the Man City game. There's 2 meetups, I believe, happening.
We do have 2 meetups. So we always have our usual one in the Bleecker Street Bar. Before I get onto this, Johnny, I'm very sorry. I never thanked you ever so much for putting on our live event with Ando last week. So thank you very much, Johnny.
Great show.
Unreal. And then we have another meetup in Quinlan's Bar in Cork, which is the usual HQ for the Cork Brigade of the Irish Mag. So if you're in and around Dublin or Cork, pop into either of them and get yourself in with the Irish Magnus.
Nice. So Dublin, the Bleecker, Cork, Quinlan's, Newcastle, the Stack, and the Points, and the Stadium, and anywhere else that you can get in when you're on good behavior. That's brilliant, lads. Thanks very much, Jonesy. It's been brilliant having you on, especially getting the guitar out. You might have bitten off more you can chew, but we loved having you on. Massive shout out. Before we let you go,
it's been really fun having us on. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Love having you on. Before we let you go, can you tell our listeners where they can find you? Maybe not your postcode and your home address, but where can they find you on the internet to start with?
Where can you find me on the internet? You can get with all the socials: Facebook, Instagram, Click Clock. Is that what you call it nowadays? What's all them ones?
Bebo.
Click Clock. You space in my tube and that. What's it called? We're on most of them, I think.
On most of them. OnlyFans, all of the good stuff for the
Yeah.
We'll have a link to the podcast description anyway if you want to check it out. And of course, as mentioned, if you're ever in the Stack on a home game, these are the boys you'll see getting all the crowd ready for action. And I'll repeat it. There's no better way to warm up for a game than being in the
tell you what, before I go, can I do a shameless plug for the Spotify stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What we're doing before each Champions League game is we're releasing a song, you know. So on Spotify, so it's only recently that we just put it up. So we've put Coming Home Newcastle, Blading Races. The new one that we're just putting out that we're going to be putting a load of social media adverts for is for the song about Dan Burns. So it's He's from Blythe and all that kind of thing. And we're going to do the one about Kieran Trippier. We've got a load of them. We're going to do the chants on there, so you're going to be able to listen on Spotify. So if any of your listeners want to grab on Spotify, follow it for the future releases and everything, and then we'll have a load of music coming out after that as well.
You heard it here first, folks, and there'll be a link in the description down below to follow the Belter Reavers, Jonesy, and all the boys, the Magic Flute, and everyone involved. Honestly, it's been brilliant having you on.
Thanks
all the
so
links
much.
to the socials are in the description as well. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We'll be back next week for more Irish Magnus, hopefully with smiling faces, depending on what happens against Man City. But either way, the crack will be had. Big Irish Mags contingent travelling over for the Man City game as well. So until then, we'll say the usual. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Jonesy. How are the lads? Slán go fall.
Thanks, Paul.
Cheers, lads. Thanks for having us. See you later. Enjoy.